Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joe Cusick from the Cusick Group. Securities offered by and provided by MoneyBlock. And end of our first week here at MarketStream.live, and it's been quite the roller coaster today. As a matter of fact, taking a look at the markets, while you wouldn't believe that term roller coaster, we do see that the week did finish basically almost flat. We had the Dow Jones finish up about 14 points today at 18,096, about less than 1% uptick, way less. The S&Ps finished up 50 cents at 21.24, and the Nasdaq finished at 48.0575, down about $1.25. So we're wrapped around basically unchanged, but like I said, it's been a wild week with a ton of data, a ton of earnings announcements, and of course, you have to throw in a political headline. Why not? The latest being now Clinton emails back in the forefront. Folks, it looks like Clinton has this thing locked up, but now you get headlines like this. It keeps crossing the wires. You got to stay on your toes on this. Now, I don't want to sound like Mel Gibson circa 1997 in conspiracy theory, but I just have this gut feeling, again, nothing more than that when I look at these markets as I'm watching them tick and this grind that we've been in for the last couple of months, and now these volatile headlines and volatility up now, in the last couple of days, that it looks like someone's trying to shake the tree here, shake the market so that we can actually get some decent buying opportunities. Like I said, Gibsonian moment here. But you know what? Here's the thing. I'm cognizant of all the things that could shake this market out. Obviously, the bond movement earlier this week really did kind of get me thinking that there could be more of a catalyst to the downside and not just a shaking of the trees or a Gibsonian conspiracy theory kind of moment. But I'm holding strong with my core portfolio for me and my clients. It's important to basically look at your core portfolio over the weekend, see how you're feeling as far as is it fitting your risk tolerance, your objectives. I am right now. I am trading around it, but I'm okay with the positions that I have, and you should take the same opportunity to look at it after a week like this. Now, things to watch going into next week. First and foremost, you're going to have to watch the central bankers. We heard it earlier this week in Europe where the central bankers, it started with Draghi, and then we saw the German central bank head, as well as the Italian and the French central bank heads, as well as the Swiss, were basically weighing in saying that they're going to reevaluate their interest rate policy. That is, as a matter of fact, keeping low interest rates may not be in the best interest because right now, the inflation indicators over in Europe are showing that is on the rise. We're not necessarily seeing it right now in the United States, but as dramatic as we've seen it now in the last week in Europe, but they're starting to put some language out there that's saying we're going to potentially readjust our course. We're going to watch very closely then the Fed this week. There is a meeting this week with a couple of the Fed's governors, and one of the things that I want to watch, not only here in the United States, because I don't anticipate the Fed is going to meet next week. I don't anticipate right now that they're going to be raising rates, but who knows? Right now, it's only about a 9% probability that they would raise it to 50 or 75 basis points. That's based off of the 30-day Fed funds rate and the probability calculator that they have from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. But the one thing that I want to look at right before the Fed meets on Wednesday of next week is I'm going to watch the Fed of the Bank of Japan. I really think that they want to see the yen take a hit. They want to see it below 105. It's going to be very interesting because then if they can get it under 105, they can keep their dovish stance, they can keep the quantitative easing. It's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out and how the yen actually starts to trade, because that could influence, again, our Fed going into that Wednesday meeting. Also, I'm going to watch the Bank of England. I think that they may surprise with everything that I have been hearing and watching all week from other Fed central bankers and Fed governors is that the British could actually get hawkish. And you know what? They could say that fiscal policy and not monetary policy is the key for addressing the Brexit concerns. That would be very interesting. I think that as I'm looking at the pound, if in fact they do take that stance, the pound could start to challenge 120. That would be very interesting, and I want to keep an eye on that. Another thing that I want to keep an eye on next week is going to be the jobs report. While I don't think it's going to be all that important, I'm not expecting a huge number, but to the upside. But I'm also watching, again, a Gibsonian moment, conspiracy theory. Watch it this weekend. It's a 1997 classic. Julia Roberts is in it as well. If, in fact, we see a poor number, though, that could dampen some of the expectations that people have had for either a surprise rate hike next week, or right now we saw that even the Fed funds are pricing in a little bit lower, now below 70% probability. It's right in the 60s now of rate increase in December. So that's a dramatic drop off from what we were reporting earlier this week, and even earlier today when we had the GDP numbers, and yesterday around 72 to 75%. It's going to be another big earnings week, and so I want to keep an eye on that. Monday's going to kick off. As a matter of fact, as I take a look at my screen and I'm looking at some of the names that I have on my watch list, on Monday you're going to have Lumber Liquidators as well as Lowe's Group. Lumber Liquidators is interesting. Their weeklies are pricing in almost over a 10% potential move, either up or down, going into that number. So there's some potential volatility in Lumber Liquidators. On Tuesday, watch for BP, Coach, Cummins, Monsanto. You're going to also have Pfizer and Gilead. Watch those. There's been a lot of activity and a lot of discussion, especially in pharmaceuticals and biotechs. On Wednesday, you're going to have Alibaba, National Semi, Facebook, First Solar, and RIG, and then as well as Wells Fargo. Thursday, I'm going to be watching Apache, Chesapeake. We're going to get some of those nat gas plays out there, as well as FireEye and Fossil, GoPro, Starbucks, and Twilio. All going to be on the radar next week, and I want to make sure that we tee those up over the weekend. Take an opportunity to look at what the options are pricing in for potential moves. We'll cover that a lot next week going into these numbers. A couple other things too is that watch some of the other economic reports other than and meetings that are going on other than the Fed. One that I want to watch very closely is going to be the crude inventories number. Watch that one. Crude has been trying to get over that $49 level. That's going to be a very important level. Also watch the ADP number as far as employment change. I want to watch initial claims. That's going to be coming out on Thursday, and we're going to be talking about that all next week. And as a matter of fact, jump on, check out all the new shows that we're going to be having next week because we're going to have an exciting lineup. Well, folks, it is Friday. It is Game 3 here in Chicago for the Cubbies. First World Series game being held here in 71 years. So I am going to shut this bad boy down. I want to thank everybody that's been participating in our inaugural week. I look forward to bringing you more content like this, and we're going to be building it out. We're going to get to a point where we're going to be a full-fledged live network where this content is going to be streaming all day. So we're looking forward to that. And until then, have a great weekend. Do your homework. And we look forward to seeing you here on MarketStream.live. This is Joe Cusick from the Cusick Group, securities provided by MoneyBlock.com, wishing you a great weekend. Take care, folks.